When people talk about Harley these days, all you hear is the downfall, unreliable this, overpriced that. But rewind the clock and the story was different, way different. There was a time when Harley-Davidson wasn't just a name, it was the name. From tearing up wartime roads to becoming the undisputed king of American streets, Harley was loyalty on wheels. Solid, dependable, trusted. Somewhere along the line, that shine got a little tarnished, but that legacy, it's not gone. And in this video, we would remind you. In number 6, we have Pan America. Now, people love to talk down on Harley when it comes to anything that isn't a cruiser, but the Pan America, it stepped into ADV territory, looked at the GS and Africa Twin and said, scoot over, and somehow it earned that seat. Let's talk numbers first, because that's where things get interesting. Priced at around $20K, the Pan America 1250 Special offers exceptional value for an adventure bike of its caliber. The Revolution Max 1250 engine, liquid-cooled V-twin, 150 horsepower, that's not just good for Harley, that is good, period. Putting that in perspective, BMW's R1250 GS gives you around 136 ponies, and Africa's Twin is playing in the low 100s. Harley is swinging above both, which, let's be honest, we did not see coming. But it ain't just power. Pan America weighs 559 pounds. That's only 11 pounds over the GS. Not bad considering all the tech they crammed into it. And it doesn't feel top-heavy. Why? Because Harley made the engine a stressed part of the frame, like the Japanese have done for years. It cuts the fat and makes the bike stiffer where it counts. Now let's talk suspension. Adaptive ride height, and before you roll your eyes, this ain't a gimmick. The bike literally drops itself when you stop, so shorter riders can flat-foot it. Then it rides back up when you take off. No tools, no adjustment knobs, just smart tech doing what it's supposed to do. The BMW? Yeah, still waiting on that. Modes, it's got them. Street, Sport, Off-Road, Off-Road Plus, Rain, Custom A and B, and Off-Road Plus, yeah, it kills rear ABS so you can lock it up and build that dirt mountain under your tire. Try that on your Couch Glide Cruiser. And here's where Harley shocked me. The tech actually works together. Traction control, link braking, cornering ABS, TFT display with tilt, Bluetooth cruise control, heated grips, steering damper, all baked in. It feels like Harley finally stopped pretending and started engineering. Is it perfect? No. That nav system could use some love, and yeah, I wish the wire routing looked a little less homemade, but the overall package, it is dialed. Pan America doesn't just look different, it rides different. It's stable off-road, confident in corners, and agile enough that you forget it's a Harley until you see the badge. Consumer Reports praises it for its reliability, performance, and innovative features, making it a serious contender in a category traditionally dominated by brands like BMW and KTM. Number 5. Harley-Davidson Heritage Classic 114. Now, this right here, this is Harley getting it right. Heritage Classic 114 ain't pretending to be something it's not. It's not trying to look like a space bike or pack in every flashy tech gadget from here to Saturn. What it does is simple. It shows up with that old-school leather bag cruiser that your granddad would nod at. But under the skin, it's built for today's road. You want a softail that respects the past but doesn't leave you stuck in it? This is the one. Let's start where it matters. The Milwaukee 8114 engine, 119 pound-feet of torque, not pretend torque, real-world twist the grip and feel it torque. You're not getting left behind at a green light, and when it comes time to cruise at 70, this thing's got power to spare. Smooth pull, no drama, just that heavy, low-end grunt that Harley does best. Compared to the older 107, this one's more eager, less sluggish. It's not a night and day difference, but you feel it where it counts. It's lighter than your touring bikes too. At 728 pounds, it's 100 plus pounds off from somewhere like a Road Glide, but it still gives you wind protection, bags, and legit comfort. It sits low, 26.3 inches, so shorter riders aren't straining to flat-footed. And the bar's nicely placed. No shoulder strain, no stretching, just hop on, settle in, and go. Now, about the ride quality, the softail frame does what it's supposed to. This bike doesn't bounce you around like the old models used to. The suspension handles potholes without turning your spine into an accordion. It's a cruiser that rides like something way smoother than it looks. Let's talk looks. This is one of the few Harleys where leather saddlebags actually make sense. They don't look like an afterthought. They complete the bike. Same with the windshield. Pop it off and you got a clean cruiser, leave it on, and you're ready for a weekend ride up the mountain. And yeah, the daymakers do their job at night. But when Harley hits you with those crusty incandescent light turn signals, like it's 2005, even on the newer models, that part, big miss. 21 grand and you're stuck upgrading lighting. Come on. Still, for all the little annoyances, the bike does its job better than most. It doesn't pretend to be a tourer, but it can tour. Doesn't scream sport, but it handles the weight well. Compared to a Deluxe or Slim, no contest. The Heritage Classic 114 is the one you take when you're not just posing at bike night, but actually riding. Number 4. Harley-Davidson Fat Boy 114. This isn't one of those maybe it's good, maybe it's not type bikes. This is Harley muscle, built like a tank and rides like a king. Now, let's start with what you see first. The looks: solid disc wheels, chrome that doesn't quit, and that fat 240mm tire in the rear paired with a 160mm up front. It doesn't just look mean, it is mean. The thing takes up space and demands attention. There's no mistaking it when it rolls past. It's the kind of silhouette that gets seared into your brain. And yes, this is the same model Schwarzenegger rode in T2, so it's been iconic longer than some of y'all have been riding. Underneath all that shine is the Milwaukee 8114 engine. That's 119 pound-feet of torque, not pretend power, real-world usable power. It doesn't feel sluggish off the line, and when you twist it, she moves. Effortless, smooth, strong. Now, compare that to some of the older twin-cam setups or even the 88s from the early 2000s, and you'll notice it. Less vibration, more grunt, and overall better throttle response. The handling is where it surprises people. You'd think that with tires that fat, it would corner like a dump truck. But nah, once you get used to pushing it with those wide bars, the Fat Boy stays planted. It doesn't fight unless you fight it. Plus, that soft tail frame underneath helps soak up the bumps. You're not bouncing around like on older hardtails or stiff frames. It's plush, it's grounded, and you feel connected. The riding position? Chef's kiss. Floorboards in that low seat height give you that cruiser throne feeling. No cramped knees, no weird angles. You're upright, relaxed, and locked in. Compared to something like the Street Bob or even a Dyna, this feels more comfortable over long miles, and that's what the Fat Boy was made for: crushing back roads, eating up highways, and showing off at every stop. It's not just a looker either. Reliability-wise, the Fat Boy is proven. Consumer Reports backs that up too. High marks for durability, engine performance, and rider satisfaction. And even though it's priced at $20,999, you're getting build quality premium finishes and a machine that doesn't need constant wrenching to stay alive. So now I gotta ask, y'all riding Fat Boys? Number 3. This one's from 2007, which is important because that was the year Harley finally stopped playing and gave their big touring bikes a 6-speed transmission. Before that, they were giving the Dyna the fancy gears while leaving the touring kings behind. But once the Road King got it, game over. Smooth cruising on the highway became standard. Now, under the big chrome shell is a 96 cubic inch twin cam motor, which is about 1584 cc of torque-heavy grunt. And I mean real torque, not just numbers on a spec sheet. This thing pulls like it's late to church. And here's what makes it special: it's built to last. I've seen Road Kings with over 100,000 miles still rolling like they just left the factory. Try doing that with one of those tech-loaded bikes that can't go 5 years without flashing warnings like it's a Christmas tree. You see all those modern Harleys trying to look cool with their radios, screens, Bluetooth this, and touchscreen that? Fast forward 50 years and half that stuff is dead weight. Try using a cassette deck in 2050. Meanwhile, the Road King, it's still doing what it was born to do: ride. No gimmicks, no distractions, just you, the road, and a machine that was actually built to be ridden. And those soft leather bags on the Classic? Pure function with a side of vintage flair. Want the wind in your face? Pop off the windscreen in seconds. Long haul through rain, snap it back on and keep rolling. It's like the Swiss Army knife of cruisers. And for anyone wondering if it could handle, go watch some of those police rodeo videos. These bikes get tossed around like sports bikes. Lean, low-speed maneuvering, full lock turns, and they don't flinch. And fun fact, a lot of officers actually prefer the pre-2009 models like this one because of the slimmer rear tire. Easier to learn, smoother in the corners. And don't even get me started on comfort. With highway pegs and a backrest, yeah, go ahead and call it an old man gear. I could ride for days. Throw in cruise control and it's basically your recliner on wheels. Not every Road King has it, but the ones that do, chef's kiss. This thing isn't trying to be a spaceship. It's not chasing trends, it's timeless. And that's what makes it one of the most reliable Harleys ever made. Number 2. Ultra Limited. This thing is built to make the road feel like your living room, except with a Milwaukee 8114 engine sitting under you and a highway stretched out ahead. That engine cranks out 119 pound-feet of torque, and the power delivery is smooth. No rattling, no drama, just strong, steady pull whenever you need it. Whether you're loaded up and climbing steep hills or cruising on flat asphalt, the Ultra doesn't stutter. Now, if you're sitting there trying to figure out how this stacks up against the Street Glide Special, here's the truth. Ultra Limited is the more complete bike. You get heated grips with 6 settings, and that's not a fancy extra. That's survival gear if you're rolling through the cold weather. And the big seat, big, plush, supportive. Your passenger is going to feel like they're in a recliner, not clinging on for dear life. Compared to the Street Glide Special, which makes you pay for more extras, the Ultra shows up dressed and ready to go. Floorboards, bigger, more comfortable. Saddlebags already on. You'd be spending your weekends adding stuff to the Street Glide that the Ultra gives you on day one. Then there's the boom. Box GTS infotainment system, touchscreen, voice command, integrated navigation, and smartphone sync. It's not just for show. On long hauls, it's what keeps you informed and entertained. And don't even get me started on safety. The Reflex defensive rider systems throw in cornering ABS, traction control, drag torque, slip control, all working behind the scenes to make sure you stay upright and in control. Storage, the Ultra has saddlebags that actually fit your gear, and the Tour Pack luggage carrier is big enough for helmets, jackets, and maybe even a packed lunch if you're feeling optimistic. It's weatherproof, lockable, and doesn't turn into a rattle box after 10,000 miles. Now, yeah, you might hear someone say the Ultra's got that grandpa look with a big Tour Pack and fairing, but comfort never goes out of style. You ride long enough and your knees, wrists, and spines will thank you for picking function over flash. It starts at $29.9, which isn't pocket change, but try building a Street Glide Special up to match this spec and you'll pass 30 G's easy. That's why Consumer Reports consistently puts the Ultra Limited near the top for reliability and touring performance. Number 1. Sport Glide. Let's start with what really matters, the Milwaukee 8107 engine. Same heart as the Softail Standard, but with a twist. It puts down 110 pound-feet of torque, plenty enough grunt to get you out of sticky spots or power through a long uphill cruise. Now, it might surprise you that the Softail Standard's tune technically gives you a hair more torque lower in the revs, but in practice, on the Sports Glide, it's smoother, more refined. It's a cruiser that doesn't fight you, it actually works with you. And handling-wise, this thing is a treat. That Softail frame gives it real agility. Even loaded down with saddlebags and a passenger, it moves like it's lighter than it looks. I've ridden plenty of Harleys that feel like you're dragging an anchor through the twisties. Not this one. It's confident, stable, predictable. And when you throw it into a corner, the suspension, rear mono-shock adjustable preload just eats up those bumps. No drama, no spine-shattering hits. Now, let's talk looks. I'll be real with you. I wasn't sold on the design at first, and neither was my old man, but the more you ride it, the more it grows on you. The blacked-out forks, the subtle fairing, the smooth lines from tank to tail. It's modern, but it's still Harley. And yeah, the stock seat's not a sofa, but it doesn't need to be. It's cushioned, ergonomic, and good enough for long stretches without needing to squirm every 10 minutes. But the real star of the show, that versatility. You got quick-release saddlebags, a detachable fairing, and a setup that can go from stripped-down city cruiser to weekend tour in under 5 minutes. Not a lot of Harleys can do that without spending a ton on aftermarket parts. And those bags, if you tried to buy them separately, you'd be dropping almost $5 grand. On this bike, it's baked in. At $18,799, Sports Glide lands right in the sweet spot. You're not overpaying and you're not compromising. It's got cruise control, solid fuel economy, and reliability backed by Consumer Reports. This isn't a looker, it's a doer.